Hello, Twins fans, and welcome back to another episode of From Lee to Limestone. I'm Matt Lenz with Twins Daily, and today we have special guest Pierson Ohl joining us, freshly promoted to Wichita after a career strikeout to walk ratio of 143 strikeouts to 18 rocks, a 14th round pick in 2021. Pierson, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Matt, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, so first of all, congrats on the promotion to Wichita. It's been about a week since we've seen you on the mound. What's the plan moving forward for you? When can we expect to see you next?
Actually, we are just about 26 hours away from my AA debut. I'll be taking the mound tomorrow night in San Antonio against the Missions, and I'm excited to get it going.
Awesome. And are you going to be able to have some friends or family in the stands there in San Antonio?
I don't think on this short late notice they're going to make the trip out to Texas. Hopefully they'll make a trip up to Wichita soon, but I have a great supporting cast, so I know they'll all be watching the stream, but unfortunately they won't be able to be there in person.
Sure. Well, again, congratulations. That's awesome. The last time we talked to you was, a little over a year ago, after your first kind of stint in the Florida Complex League, and then your off season. And so since then, you've been in Cedar Rapids. You've recently got promoted to Wichita, and I know you don't have the experience yet, but in your experience, what has been the biggest adjustment or the biggest challenge you've had to make from going to Grand Canyon University to pro ball?
Going from college to pro ball, it was more of excuse me for that. Everything was team oriented in pro ball or in college, excuse me. College was, hey, we do this, we do that. This is what we do. You need to follow these guidelines. And stepping into professional baseball, getting my first full season under my belt, it was more so, hey, what can we do to make Pierson Ohl the best player that we can with the time that we have here? And understanding, like, showing up to the field every day, it was like, hey, we want to win as a team. We want to do this. But at the end of the day, it's how can we maximize your profile as a pitcher, as an individual, whatever it may be. And taking that approach into now my second season, I've really understood how to go about my day-to-day business and understand that I can step away from the team at times just to clear my head and understand that I'm on a mission to develop my pitching aspect and not really revolve around wins and losses.
Sure, and that's been I would assume that would be a huge adjustment for anybody where in college your coaches are kind of guiding you and you have counselors and athletic advisors and whoever else, and then you get to pro ball and obviously you still have some of that support, but for the most part you're kind of responsible for yourself. So I'd imagine that would be a big adjustment.
Yeah, no doubt, and I guess it's the saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. They have everything available for us. But if you're not going to have the work ethic, if you're not going to have the discipline, the diligence to manage your time, all these resources aren't going to be good for you at all if you're not going to utilize them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so along those lines, in between starts, what do you do to kind of, prepare outside of just arm care? Are you a big data guy, dig into that, or what do you do to prepare in between starts and to keep yourself on top of your game?
I wasn't a big data guy until we got with the Twins, but I think the data is something that you can really utilize, like you said, in between starts. I know a lot of guys throughout today's game of baseball become dependent on the numbers that they see on TrackMan reports or Rapsodo or wherever it may be, and I think those things are phenomenal to look at and base where your stuff is at. But I feel like not being so dependent on those numbers and still understanding that the game of baseball it's an imperfect game, that you can throw a fastball down the middle sometimes and they swing and miss, or you can perfectly execute a slider and they hit it over the fence. So understanding that those metrics are good and they're great to understand, but I don't think it's the end all be all when it comes to baseball. Other than the analytical things, I think recovery is a huge thing. I'm a big believer in getting your body in cold water. I think that's one of the best things for the human body, and I do that about 3-4 times a week in between starts, and my body's in a great spot, and yeah.
Awesome. And so the last time that we talked to you, again, just right after or ahead of the 2022 season, you talked a little bit about your pitch mix just being fastball, changeup, curveball, with your changeup kind of being your go-to pitch when you're in a crunch. Has that changed at all now that you're have another year under your belt? Have you added some velo? Kind of what's changed in your pitch mix in the last year or so?
So my bread and butter is still going to be locating the fastball at any point and throwing the changeup in the strike zone. It's been a pillar for me, and that's how I've got to professional baseball. Um, yes, we have added a hard slider to my repertoire. Um, that's been something that's been crucial for my development, is getting something going away from righties and into lefties to get them off the changeup. Um, the changeup is my best pitch, and I'm going to throw it majority of the time. But understanding that if I'm going to want to pitch at a higher level, I'm going to need to incorporate a better mix to get them off my changeup. The velo has ticked up a little bit. I think 2-3 miles an hour from last year. I think I'm topping 94 this year, opposed to 91 last year, which is like a great jump, especially for what I needed. But I mean, I think it's just been a steady diet of understanding that, hey, your fastball changeup combo is really good, but we want to make it elite. So let's get a breaking ball in there that's hard, that has good shape. But yeah.
That's awesome. I love these types of conversations about, your approach and things like that. I was a catcher when I played, and I coached for about 10 years, and just love talking to pitchers and catchers about kind of that pitch mix and how to attack hitters. So love that type of conversation. I don't know if you caught the All-Star game last year, but they introduced kind of interviewing players mid-game, and I think it was Alejandro Kirk of the Blue Jays was being interviewed while he was catching, and it was just fascinating to hear some of his thought process. Last question for you, kind of more on the personal side. What is your routine? Do you have any superstitions? Anything along those lines on game day? But I think of, like, one of my favorite is, I don't know if he still does it, but at one point Justin Verlander had like the same exact Taco Bell meal before every start. Do you have anything kind of quirky like that?
I don't have anything that weird. I limit my caffeine intake throughout the week. I think I have one energy drink, and it's only on start days. And that's something that I'd say that's probably my most routine thing, is on start day, I look forward to having the caffeine, because, avid coffee drinkers don't feel the effects of caffeine that people that don't drink coffee do. And waiting 5-6 days to have that 200 milligrams of caffeine, it kind of makes me go crazy a little bit. And I love that. I love that, like, adrenaline spike that I get from that. And I feel like that's the only thing that that's a staple of mine. I know some guys can't eat a lot on game day. I don't know why I get so hungry on game day, but I have to eat like 2-3 big meals before I go out and pitch. But no, I think just the caffeine would probably be my staple.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, congrats on getting promoted to Wichita, and absolutely good luck tomorrow night in San Antonio at your first start at AA.
Thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate your time.